Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Susanna, indie author and freelance book formatter, and today I'll be doing the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. The first question is, how did you find out about AuthorTube? Back in 2020, I googled for some writing tips and I found Diane Callahan's How to Show Not Tell video. And after that, YouTube recommended to me Natalia Lee's videos, and that's how I found out about AuthorTube. What genres do you write in? My debut novel, Katie, is a modern YA retelling of Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. The main character is an avid reader of YA paranormal romances, and she's absolutely certain that the guy she has a crush on must secretly be a vampire. It has a somewhat snarky narrator who constantly breaks the fourth wall and makes fun of overused YA tropes. And if that sounds like your thing, Katie is available on Amazon. My current work in progress is a coming-of-age story that is set in a fictional prehistoric matriarchal society, and it tells how the two main characters, an insecure boy and a privileged girl, grow up in that society and the challenges that they face. For my future projects, I have plans for historical fiction, fantasy, and dystopian novels. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? I've written both in present tense and past tense. I don't really have a preference there. And I've also written both in third person and first person. I have a slight preference for first person, but for example, Katie is in third person past tense, and so is my current work in progress. But my next project will be in first person present tense. So it really depends on the story. When it comes to the category of the story, Katie is, I would say, upper YA. It's at the cusp of new adult. The main character is 18 years old and she has just finished high school and is about to start college. But all my other projects are adult books. Are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? So if you don't know these terms, plotter is someone who plots and plans and outlines their project before they start writing. Pantser is someone who doesn't. They just start writing and see where the story goes. And plantser is somewhere in between. I would call myself a wannabe plotter. I've noticed that when I do plot and outline everything, writing is so much easier. But I don't usually do that, so I guess that makes me a plantser. Are you self-published, traditionally published, or yet to be published? Katie is self-published, but for my next book I would like to query it and see if I can get it traditionally published. It's always been a dream of mine and I want to experience at least the querying process and hopefully also the publication process. But if that doesn't happen, I can always self-publish my next books. When did you start writing? When I learned to write. Before that, I told stories. There's at least one story that my brother wrote down for me, and a couple of stories that I told to a tape recorder. So I've always been a storyteller, and when I learned to write, I started writing those stories down. I still have a pile of old notebooks of all the stories that I started and usually abandoned. They were mostly about horses because those were the books that I read when I was 7 to 12 years old. Becoming an author was really the first concrete dream or goal for what I want to do when I grow up. What was the first story you ever wrote? The first story that I remember writing down was about a girl who got a horse as a birthday gift, and she went riding and came home and wrote to her diary, "This was the best day ever." Very short, basically flash fiction. And like I said, majority of the stories that I wrote as a child were about horses or dogs. But I did try different genres. I wrote at least one mystery book. It wasn't very good. And I also wrote non-fiction because I'm a nerd. What authors have inspired your writing the most? Well, Katie is a Jane Austen retelling, so obviously Jane Austen is one of my major influences and inspiration. But as for other writers, I can't really pinpoint specific authors who have influenced or inspired me. I think it's everything that I read, every author in some way influences or inspires my writing. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? I really like schedules and routines, so yes, I do schedule my writing sessions. I'm currently reading the third draft of my current work in progress, which I'm calling Project Prehistory, and I'm working on that every weekday evening from 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. So hour and a half every weekday. And since I'm self-employed, I can also work during daytime if necessary and if it fits my schedule. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? I brainstorm and plan and write out snippets of dialogue and action and all my ideas of what could happen by hand, and then I type it out on a sort of brain dump file on computer. Outlining and plotting I sometimes do on computer and sometimes on paper. Usually like if it's a big picture outline that I do on computer, but like scene level stuff of in which order the scenes should come in is easier to do with post-it notes and by hand. I do writing and drafting on computer just using Microsoft Word. What AuthorTube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? I want to document my writing journey and hopefully also the publishing journey of Project Prehistory. But I also want to talk about books I've read and enjoyed and more of like booktube type of content. So videos about the books I'm writing and books I'm reading. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of AuthorTube? I'm looking forward to finding like-minded people and building a community. So say hi in the comments and tell me where you are in your writing journey and what are you working on. And I'll see you in my next video.